Happy Sunday. Welcome to Mindset with Jamil. I'm your host, Jamil Damji, and I am so excited about our conversation today because it is a topic that I'm not only incredibly passionate about, um, because I've seen its effects in my life and I've been able to really experiment with the results. And one of the coolest things about this process, this path that I've been walking for the last, I don't know now, 15 years, it feels like, this path of blending entrepreneurship and spirituality in one cohesive approach has been one of the most rewarding, lucrative, peace giving, but also incredibly difficult paths I've ever walked in my life. I can say that it is incredibly gratifying to see the result of the work and practice, but it's also so beautiful to be able to track your results and make pivots and make changes along the way. And so today I want to talk a little bit about the manifestation process that I go through, that I do, some of the exercises that I do. And then later on in the hour, I'm going to be bringing up Nathan Harris, a very special guest and collaborator from the astro flipping community that I've watched blossom and grow over the last few years to become one of the more powerful manifestors in in my experience and having getting to meet people, one of the most powerful manifestors in the astro community. And he has taken these ideas, these concepts, and has metabolized his own processes and his own things that he's doing right now to be super helpful. And so I thought, what a beautiful way to kind of go full circle, because when I first met Nathan, I met him in, New York. He came into the community, and like most people who come into the community, he's full of so much excitement and passion. And then he comes to realize and learn that, oh no, there's not a special thing I got to do. There's no special words you can say to a seller that hypnotizes them into selling you their house. Oh, there's no like special software that I can buy that's going to just do all the work for me. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to do this all on myself. I got to work on myself first, and then I'll start to see the results in my life. And that can become daunting, or it can become incredibly powerful. You can feel so empowered by that, because then you get to understand it's all in my hands. It's all in my hands. And so I've watched this gentleman come into the community and really bring his own spin and his own flavor and his own experiences into these practices. And he's done a phenomenal job. And I can't wait for you guys to be able to hear what he has to say about this as well. So to kick us off, I just want to get in the chat here and find out from you, how many of you here that are joining us today have manifested or feel like you have manifested something in your life? If you feel like you have manifested something in your life, hit 1. And if you feel like you have not manifested properly in your life, hit 2. Okay. And 1, if you feel like you've successfully manifested something in your life. 2, if you feel like you haven't had luck doing that. I just want to see from the audience here how we're feeling about our capacity to manifest. Awesome. So lots of 1s, a few 2s. Okay. Very good. Thank you for the honesty and the participation. All right. So out the gate, I want to remind all of us that we're constantly manifesting. So for those of us who feel like we've not successfully manifested something in our life, I'm here to tell you that you absolutely have. You've actually been unconsciously manifesting to this point. And so the goal is to use manifestation and transmute it, move it from unconscious to conscious. Okay, we want to move manifestation from unconscious to conscious. So let's unpack that a moment. What do I mean by unconscious? Right? When we're unconsciously manifesting, it means that there is a program running in our life that is, without our awareness, bringing situations, people, opportunities, obstacles in our life, and it's doing so without our cooperation. All right, that's unconscious manifestation. That's when we are the victim of our circumstance. Okay, when we become the victim of our circumstances, and we see this so much, right? We see this so much. I, as a coach, get to see this more than others, I would imagine, because when I get to meet people and I ask them, why are things not working out for you? 9 out of 10 times, the answers that I get are external, right? Well, I'm having this, my, my family life is really tough, and my spouse is doing this a lot. Or, my job is really hard and my boss has been doing this to me. And not to say that those external factors and forces aren't important and that they don't have an effect on us. They always do, right? We can be affected by what's going on outside of us in many ways. But the facts is when we become a victim of those, when we are no longer in control of those outside forces, and that we allow those outside forces to propel us, to push us, and then we become like a boat in the middle of the ocean with no sail and no sailor, and we're kind of just being pushed and pulled and moved around in the waves, and we're at the mercy of the ocean. We have no capacity to help direct where we're going. And I like to think of this concept of manifestation like sailing in the ocean, right? When we're sailing, yes, there's all these forces. You've got storms, you've got wind, you've got your sails, you've got the structure and integrity of your boat, you've got the knowledge of the sailor. And all of these things come together, and we're in this very powerful body, this ocean that can kill us in a moment, overcome us, overwhelm us, and bury us in water, and we're gone. And it can happen in a moment. And at the same time, we've been able to get in these boats and travel lands, and we've been able to stretch around the world and see and touch almost every corner of land that we have here, and really explore the beauty and majesty of this beautiful planet we're on. And so we can find how to coexist and co-create and ride the waves and ride the storms, and in unison work with the ocean, work with the storm, work with the wind to get to the destination that we're going for. And that, my friends, is manifestation. It's not going to happen without the storms. It's not going to happen without wind changing on you. It's not going to happen without its rocky nights. It's not going to happen without you getting wet. It's not going to happen without you getting flipped overboard. These things are going to happen. But your capacity to get back in the boat and to direct just the sails and to carry force and to stay course is how you become a conscious co-creator in your life. So I want us first to just understand that whatever we're doing right now, we're manifesting. Now, if your current situation, financially, in relationships, your happiness levels, how you feel about your level of connectivity with the community that you're involved in, your friends, if it is not what you're wanting in life, if it's not at the level that you hope and dream and wish for, then there's work for us to do. Then we have an opportunity to be able to make a change and to do something different. And so what I'll propose today, my friends, is how we can make that change and how we can effectively co-create in a conscious way our life. And that first begins by clearing the palate. All right. So I want you to think about yourself as a computer with an operating system. Now, if we think back to the early days of Windows, Windows 95 for that matter, and some of you are too young to even understand what I'm saying when I say Windows 95. People like Nathan Harris and you other Gen Zers or millennials that might be watching right now. Windows 95 was one of the first operating systems that we had in when we were using computers and we were navigating the internet. And it did a great job in 1995. It was phenomenal in 1995. And in 2024, it is outdated. It is no longer going to support the programs. It's no longer going to support the speed. It's no longer going to support the outcomes that we are wanting to perpetuate or create in this modern world. And so we need to upgrade the operating system. And so what I want you to understand is survival mind, okay? Where we are when we're in a place of survival is like running Windows 95 in our consciousness, okay? When we're in that state, survival mind being the survival mechanisms of our life, procreation, eating, finding water, the bare necessities, shelter, warmth, protection from the elements. These survival-based drives are the operating system of 99% of the planet. 99% of the planet is living in that place, is living in that area of survival. And if we can transcend that, if we can move beyond that survival operating system, we get into the creative operating system. We get into a place where now we are the ones who are able to add our desires, to add our goals, to add our wants and the things that we see for ourselves as where we want and how we want to live our lives. And that's when we get to change the operating system. And in order to do that, we have to clear out Windows 95. We have to make the decision to uninstall Windows 95 and to reinstall a new operating system. Is that making sense to everybody, even though I'm using maybe antiquated terminologies and dating myself here? Does that make sense to us? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat so that I understand that we're all on the same page. Awesome. Great. Okay. So how do we clear the operating system? What are the ways that we can enter into the operating system? Well, first, I want us to understand where the operating system is housed. All right. Now, where it is housed in our bodies is the subconscious mind. All right. The subconscious mind is where the operating system is housed. And entering into the subconscious mind takes some practice and it requires tools to get there. You're not going to naturally be able to access the subconscious mind unless you are in those hours right when you, or those moments right when you wake up, or right when you go to sleep, or while you're asleep. Those are the three natural places where we have access to the subconscious mind. But once the cortisol in our body starts to elevate in the morning and the stress hormone starts to kick in, adrenaline and the other neurotransmitters and chemicals that cause our hearts to start to beat faster, that causes our metabolisms to start to raise, that starts to cause blood to rush into the other parts of our body, that create the movement that gets our butts out of bed. Once that starts to happen, okay, we lose access to the subconscious mind. And so we lose access to being able to change the program. And so if we really want to manifest something different, then we need to go in and utilize that time or find tools that will help us break through into the subconscious mind without having to catch ourselves right after waking up or right before we go to sleep or while we're in sleep. So, what are some of the tools that we can use to access the subconscious mind? Right? I want you guys to write this stuff down. The first tool that I use to enter the subconscious mind is breath work. Yes, Nathan, breath work. So breath work is, in my opinion, the gold standard of accessing the subconscious mind. Now, the beautiful thing about breath work is you can do it anytime. You can wake up and run a marathon and then do breath work and you'll be in that place. You can really be going through a terrible, difficult time in your life. Something very hard can happen at this moment. And you could do a breath work session and enter into the subconscious mind. The breath work, when done diligently and done with intention and presence, is the most powerful methodology that we can access on our own to enter into the subconscious. And we do so through a chemical process. Now, the beautiful thing about what breath work does is it changes the chemistry of our body. So it releases a chemical called beta carboline, which is tantamount to or analogous to benzodiazepine. And for those of you who don't know what a benzodiazepine is, it's like Valium, right? So Valium is a relaxing medication that people take when they're anxious or stressed out. Back in the day, doctors used to give it to housewives and executives who were having a hard time. And so if you've got a negative connotation around Valium, you should, because you shouldn't be taking those exogenously. But when we create beta carboline through the bloodstream, we create a bioavailable version of that only lasts for a certain amount of time and will then get metabolized and no longer affect you. So unlike taking a Valium, you will take a Valium and you'll feel groggy for 8 hours. When you do breath work and you release beta carboline into the blood, that will only last for a half an hour or at the most. And so it's not like it's going to have a residual hangover, if you would. So beta carboline is the one chemical that gets released when we're in breath work. The second chemical that gets released when we're in breath work is 5-methoxy-dimethyltryptamine, which is also known as 5-MeO-DMT. Now, why is that an important chemical to be released in the body? Well, 5-methoxy-dimethyltryptamine is a very mystical chemical. It is a derivative of serotonin, which then becomes melatonin, which then is methylized into DMT. Now, when you are born, your body produces an enormous amount of DMT when you first enter into this plane. And so it is believed that DMT is the portal that brings consciousness from one realm into this physical 3D realm. DMT is also in its highest concentrations while we are asleep. All right. So your body is producing DMT while you are asleep. And those dreams that you have, those lucid dreams, or those really, really, really intense visions that happen while you're sleeping, are a product of 5-methoxydimethyltryptamine. Yes, that's why you dream like that. And they've also studied and seen that a large amount of DMT is released at the moment right before death. Okay, so when you're born, while you sleep, and when you die, that is the neurotransmitter or the neurochemical that is in high concentrations in those states. Now, why is it important? Well, that kind of points to the fact that that chemical in a relaxed body. So why does the body produce beta carbolene? It produces beta carbolene to relax you, and then the 5-methoxydimethyltryptamine is then released to transport you. All right? So it relaxes you and it transports you into a dimension that you can then manifest in, where you have now entered into the subconscious mind, into that realm of energy, not the physical, but into that realm of energy where you now can build whatever it is that you're looking for. So breath work, incredibly powerful because it releases those chemicals, beta carbolene and 5-MeO-DMT, and that pushes you into the subconscious mind. Number two, the second activity that you can do to enter into the subconscious mind is EMDR. Now, you can self-administer EMDR. There's websites or videos that you can watch on YouTube that'll help you get into that. You can also use therapy and therapists to help you in EMDR. And that's when we're accessing through different stimuli, different parts and regions of the brain in specific patterning. Now, when we do that in those specific patterns, what ends up happening is we're able to, again, leave the conscious mind and enter into the subconscious. All right. So we activate both hemispheres of the brain in specific patterns. And in doing so, through either sound, vibration, or light, and they do that, they use a mixture or a blend of all of that in EMDR in order for us to leave the conscious and enter into the subconscious mind. The third way that you can enter into the subconscious mind is through self-hypnosis or hypnosis. So there are also videos that you can watch and tools that you can do to administer self-hypnosis. And this is when you bring yourself into a very relaxed state. Again, your body will release certain neurotransmitters and chemicals to maintain that state of relaxation. And we can leave the conscious and enter into the world of the subconscious. And then another way for us to access our subconscious mind is through audio and video. So some of the music that we're listening to, the background music that we're listening to in the day, or the television shows that we watch at night right before going to bed, they have a tremendous effect on the subconscious mind. So if you're spending the entire day listening to gangster rap, then no wonder you're on edge and wanting to fight everybody or feeling super aggressive or having a harder time. Again, I've got nothing against gangster rap. You guys can see right over here, I have one of Tupac Shakur's platinum records, actually one of Tupac's platinum records hanging on my wall. I'm a big fan of gangster rap. I straight up am. But I can tell you that it's not healthy for me to listen to a lot. I can't, because I'm putting in the wrong messaging into my mind. Right? I'm subliminally programming myself with violent words, with misogyny, with greed, anger, retribution, and all of these different concepts and tropes and themes that come from that realm. And so I choose the media that I will pay attention to so that I can better affect my day. So making a switch from that type of music to maybe classical music or gospel music or something that is uplifting, something that has words that and melodies that are very strategically patternized so that they are pleasing to the ear, but also so that they can relax the body and relax the mind and enter into that subconscious realm. And so again, what we are listening to and what we're watching can very much affect us subconsciously. And again, the last thing that we can do to affect ourselves in the subconscious mind is in those moments right before we go to bed and right when we wake up, and then also while we're sleeping. So again, the practicing night hygiene, making sure that the things that we're doing before going to bed are pushing us in the right direction. That's why saying prayer before you go to bed is highly effective. Meditation before going to bed, highly effective. Being mindful, reading scripture or reading positive and uplifting words, highly effective. Watching Netflix before going to bed, ineffective. Scrolling your phone and watching social media and looking at images that may not be the best things to look at, not effective. So really practicing sleep hygiene and making sure that the things that we're putting into our minds prior to going to sleep are going to further our goal in adequately and appropriately programming the subconscious mind. All right. So now that we've cleared the subconscious and we've entered the subconscious, how do we then reprogram it? What are some tools that we can use to reprogram the narrative that's playing in our subconscious mind so that we can bring forward and call to ourselves a different situation, something that we want rather than something that we're unconsciously just getting? Well, one of my favorite tools, and you guys have heard me talk about this for a decade now, is guided meditation. You can listen to different guided meditations. Some of my favorites are Joe Dispenza. I love Bob Proctor, Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley. These gentlemen have created beautiful, incredible meditations that you can listen to that take no longer than 20 minutes in some cases and will very, very quickly reprogram you into more positive and greater thought patterns in gratitude, in higher frequencies that will push you and help reprogram the subconscious mind in a direction that we're looking for. The second tool that I'll use to reprogram my subconscious mind is granular visualization. All right. What do I mean when I say granular visualization? So that's when we're visualizing using our senses, right? So if we can see it in our mind, but not only see it, if we can smell it, if we can touch it, if we can taste it, if we can hear it, if we can engage our senses while we're in visualization, it is a much more powerful technique than just kind of daydreaming. So intentionally visualizing specific outcomes that we're looking for and engaging in the senses at the same time will help evoke an emotional response. And in evoking that emotional response, we raise our frequency and we raise our vibration. And when we do that, we now prime ourselves to meet situations, circumstances, and opportunities of like frequency in our external environment. Again, visualization, engaging all of the senses, allows us to create an emotional response of a frequency that will then be matched in the external world. So when we visualize circumstances and situations that evoke gratitude, and we bring our emotional state to a place of gratitude, we will find circumstances, people, and situations on our exterior that will evoke more gratitude. So things of like nature will continue to collide with us. The next tool that we can use in reprogramming the subconscious is journaling. So a very effective way to get clear on those aspects of ourselves that no longer serve us and aspects of ourselves that we would like to lean into so that we can grow them and develop them is by getting clear about what those are. Not knowing and not actually looking at and making real and bringing into the physical world the things that are our hindrances, that are our obstacles, and ignoring them or leaving them in the background is part of the problem. It's why some of us answered that we are not effectively manifesting is because we haven't yet brought those thoughts to the forefront. So you need to be able to bring the trash up out of the garbage can so that we can take it out. And the only way that we can sometimes bring that trash out and to bring to mind and to the surface some of those disempowering thoughts, those disempowering traumas, those disempowering limits and belief systems that are holding us back in our lives, have been doing so for decades, is by writing them down, making them real, and then making a decision whether or not those are serving us any longer. The next way to reprogram the subconscious mind is action with passion, moving in a direction in a passionate manner that then signals to our environment for more of that to find us. Passionate action is an incredible way to move yourself, to move your energetic body in a direction that you're looking to move. Affirmations, using our speech, our throat chakra, it sends vibrations into our physical world that will then be reflected back at us. So the words we say are incredibly powerful. When we are speaking disempowering words about ourselves, or we speak disempowering words about others in the form of gossip, we are hindering and stopping ourselves. We are blocking our blessings from finding us, because our words have power. Our words are vibration. And so it's extremely important that we choose our words wisely. If you don't have something good to say, keep it to yourself. I truly, truly mean that. The next is intentional thought. Now, we have thoughts running through our mind all the time, and many of us don't have the capacity or haven't taken the time to actually get to notice those thoughts and to get intentional about what we're thinking. Our thoughts are energy. And so if we can intentionally move our thoughts in a specific direction, if we can create the intention and the actual structure of our thoughts, if we can give it form, then that can become manifest in our 3D world. And then the last piece on reprogramming ourselves is to surrender. And not in the form of giving up, but to what is, and accepting the flow of life and the way that God and the universe brings it to us in its most incredible and beautiful form. Believe this, friends, none of you showed up here without having to have actually needed to been here, right? All of you are here because you're supposed to be at one level or another. So remember that you got here for a reason. You're here because you're supposed to. And take from this what resonates with you so that you can make positive and impactful changes into your life. All right, I'm going to bring up my good friend, Nathan Harris, to share with us some of his ideas on how he's using some of these techniques and tools to manifest the best life that he can for himself. Happy Sunday. How are you, brother?
I am good. Good to see you guys.
Great to see you, man. How's it going today?
You know, it is going very good, and I'm very happy because I woke up and I chose to be.
There you go. Intentionally choosing the thoughts. Now, Nathan, I know you've got a presentation for us, and I don't want to take away from your time, so I'm going to give you the stage here. I'm going to put your screen on the screen, and I'll let you take it away. Nathan.
Sounds good. All right, guys, what is up? It is Nathan Harris. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. I actually put together a really simple presentation because everything that Jamil said was really, really awesome. But sometimes when you're like just getting into it, you're like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of big words. And even myself doing the work every single day, doing breath work, doing meditations, those big words, sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other. So I'm going to simplify this for you. Really, really simplify it. And I'm going to show you guys how your thoughts have a direct effect on your reality, how your thoughts have a direct effect on all the things that happen around you. So let's start off with meeting you. You see this guy right here, this stick person? That is you. Let's give him a name. Why don't we name this guy Bill? Okay. So this guy is going to be named Bill. Now, how does Bill operate? So, would you guys agree that we have a mind and a body? Do you guys agree that we have a mind and a body? Are you your name? Are you, for example, I see Sharon in the chat. Are you Sharon? Sharon, are you Sharon, or is that just your name? Jay, are you Jay, or is that just your name? Because you can change your name, so that doesn't mean that you're your name. Are you your body? Well, there's something that operates your body, right? So the way that I perceive it is that we have a mind and we have a body, right? You have a mind and you have a body. So there's this physical structure that we live in, and then we have something controlling that physical structure. We have something that calls a shot. So if I want to put 5 fingers in the air, I can put 5 fingers in the air. I can intentionally tell my body to do that. Okay, well, let's go into the mind. How does your mind work? How many people here know how their mind works? Give me a 1 if you know how your mind works. Give me a 2 if you're not totally sure how your mind works. Give me a 1 if you know how your mind works. Give me a 2 if you're kind of unsure how your mind works. Okay. So it seems like we have a balance of people that know how their mind works and some people that aren't sure how their mind works. And to be frank with you guys, I'm still learning how my mind works. I'm still not totally sure how my mind works. It surprises me to this day. To this day, I'll still learn new things about my mind. But what I do know so far is I do know that we have 2 parts to our mind. We have our conscious mind, right? And then we have our subconscious mind. So you might ask, what's the difference between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind? Well, the conscious mind is responsible for thinking, right? So this would be like, let's say you're playing a game of chess and you're breaking a sweat because it's a really intense game of chess and you're like, thinking. Okay, maybe I'll go here. And you're like playing out all the different pathways that it possibly could go. You're burning calories thinking, right? So that would be your conscious mind, very active thought. And now your conscious mind can accept or reject ideas. So let's say, for example, Nathan tells you that cows are dressed up as horses, right? Your conscious mind can choose to reject that idea. Your conscious mind can be like, Nathan, that's absurd. Cows are not dressed up as horses. Okay. Your conscious mind can reject that. But then there's your subconscious mind. And the interesting thing about your subconscious mind is it cannot accept or reject ideas. It can only accept everything as true. So your subconscious mind is, in my opinion, very vulnerable, right? And we have to protect our subconscious mind. So let's say you go to bed and you're watching something on YouTube, right? And you leave autoplay on. And then next thing you know, you wake up and it's auto playing the wildest thing ever about like aliens and like pyramids and stuff like that. And you're like, whoa, what the heck am I watching? And that when you're in that impressionable state, when your subconscious mind is wide open, all that's flowing into your subconscious mind. But Nick says, so last night, you mean? That was so relatable. So your subconscious mind can sometimes be wide open. If you're not consciously thinking, if you're not consciously deciding if you're going to accept or reject ideas, and you're just letting your mind be open, things will come into your mind. So some people, like, for example, when I go to the gym, the news is playing at the gym, and I have to very consciously say, no, I don't want that to influence my opinions because there's a lot of negativity in the news, and I don't want that to get into my subconscious mind. And now to finalize this stick person here, we have a body. Does everybody here have a body? Put a 1 in the chat if you have a body. Put a 1 in the chat if you have a body. I want to make sure we're here as well. Put a 1 in the chat if you have a body. Some of you guys don't have a body. Okay, so your body is an obedient servant of your mind. Your body is an obedient servant of your mind. Have you guys ever wanted an obedient servant? Well, you have one, and that's your body. But some of us might say, but Nathan, my body goes and grabs a bag of Doritos and watches Netflix every night. And you're telling me it's an obedient servant of my mind? My body is grabbing a bag of Doritos and watching Netflix. Okay, so hold on. That body is still an obedient servant of the mind, but you know which mind it's an obedient servant of? Your subconscious mind. That body is being an obedient servant of your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is where habits are formed. Your subconscious mind is saying, you go grab a bag of Doritos and you go watch some true crime on Netflix. Okay. So your body is still an obedient servant of the mind. But the question is, what mind? What mind? Is your body being an obedient servant of your conscious mind, your subconscious mind? And inside your subconscious mind, are there good habits or bad habits of thought? Okay, on to the next part. Let's simplify this stickman a little more. So, how do your thoughts affect your reality? How do your thoughts affect your reality? Well, remember how we had the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the body? We're going to simplify this a little bit more. And instead, we're going to say thoughts, feelings, and actions. Does everybody get that? Instead of instead of conscious, subconscious, and body, we're now going to label it as thoughts, feelings, and actions. We're going to get a little bit more simple. And with these thoughts, feelings, and actions, we end up with results. So if I think a thought, let's do an example here. Let's say I think that I can call an agent and I can get a pocket listing. Okay. So my thought will be pocket listing. And pocket listings are very valuable to us wholesalers. Pocket listings often result in really big assignment fees. They often end up actually being deals. So if I think the thought that I can get a pocket listing and I end up turning that into a feeling of belief, if I end up turning that into a feeling of belief and I take action, and I'm going to put a little arrow here, and I take action with confidence, then what do I end up with? I end up with positive results, the results that I want. Okay, so why do we struggle to change sometimes? Sometimes we're like, Nathan, I get it. We have thoughts, we have feelings, we have actions, but I'm stuck in this loop. I'm like, I'm stuck in this like negativity loop. But this thing happened to me and I don't believe in myself anymore, right? I tried wholesaling for 3 months and I didn't get anything and I suck. And yeah, right. Sometimes we find ourselves in those negativity loops and we're like, how do we break out of them? Okay. So let me, first of all, before I give you guys the solution, I'm going to show you guys why we struggle to change, because identifying the problem is the first part of solving it. So just as the stickman above, we are now going to illustrate it in a little bit more simple of a form. So we have thoughts, right? Negative thoughts, which result in negative feelings, which result in negative actions, right? And this is a cycle. So we might say, maybe you find yourself in a thought of, I can't do this. Okay. Some of us find ourselves in this thought, and I'm going to rewrite that, make that a little more clear. I can't, right? Some of us find ourselves with this negative thought right here. I can't, right? And then what kind of feeling does that give? Well, that will often give discouragement. Okay. And if you're thinking, I can't, and you're feeling discouraged, what kind of actions do you think you're going to take? Maybe you won't take any of that. Maybe you won't take any action, right? Or no action. Or maybe, you're going to give half efforts because you're already feeling discouraged. Okay. So sometimes we find ourselves in this really crummy loop where we have poor thoughts, which lead to poor feelings, which lead to poor actions, which then lead to even more poor thoughts. So this cycle of negative thoughts, feelings, and behaviors continues to compound on itself and creates a disempowering self image. So now we understand where some of us find ourselves, right? We understand how we find ourselves in that loop. But how do we break out of it? Okay. So this is how we break out of it. We need to insert what's called a positive thought. Okay. We need to insert positive thoughts. Okay. And where do we get these positive thoughts from? Well, Sunday Mindset with Jamil is a really good place to come to get these positive thoughts. We can get them from, we can get them from Jamil. We can get them from meditation. We can get them from motivational videos. And guys, can you put in the side chat where you can get positive thoughts from? Where can you get positive thoughts or inspiration from? I want you guys to put in the side chat. We need some more ideas here. Sharon says scripture. Yep. Where else can we get positive thoughts, positive ideas from? Prayer, audiobooks. Yep. More audiobooks. Church. Yep. Where else can we get positive inspiration from? Surroundings. Luke says Goggins. Laura says books, positive affirmations. Nick says nature. Jose says positive people. That's a really big one. I totally agree with that. Accountability partners, affirmations, inner circle, goals, the right friends. Guys, you are hitting the nail right on the head. I'm really proud of you guys. So first thing we need to do is we need to insert positive thoughts. Okay, so now let's come up with a scenario that we can illustrate. So let me delete this. Okay, so let's go back to the person that doesn't believe in themselves, right? And they're getting crummy results because they don't believe in themselves. And let's look at it a different way. So let's say that they insert a positive thought of, I can. We'll make it really simple. I can, right? That's their positive thought. They wake up in the morning and they say, I can. They start to believe that they can, right? So now let's say they're calling agents and they're trying to get pocket listings. But when they call on the phone, they call with belief. They start to call with belief, right? And that belief will lead to confidence. Right? And that confidence will lead to pocket listings, right? So then you get pocket listings, POCKET listings, which then reaffirms I can. So let's reaffirm this identity. Right? So now we are reaffirming that you can, right? And if you reaffirm that you can with the results, what are you going to have? You're going to have more belief. And if you have more belief, you're going to have more confidence. So, on the flip side of things, positive thoughts create positive feelings and positive actions. Positive thoughts create positive feelings, motivating you to take positive action. And taking positive action creates positive results, therefore reaffirming your new self-image. So what we have here is we have reaffirmed our image, our self-image. Cool. Okay, so is that all making sense to you guys? Is that all making sense to you guys? Give me a 1 in the chat if it's making sense to you guys. Give me a 1 if it's making sense. Give me a 2 if you'd like me to elaborate on it a bit more. Because it is a bit of a complex thing, right? We're talking about the mind. We've never seen the mind, right? Like you might say that it's a brain, right? Well, your brain is not your mind. Your brain is part of your body. We've never seen the mind, so it's kind of complex. So give me a 1 if you get it, and give me a 2 if you think I should talk a little bit more about it. Okay, cool. Looks like y'all are locked in, and looks like y'all are getting the point. Okay, so I'd like to tell you guys a story about Bondage Bill. I'd like to tell you guys a story about Bondage Bill. So this is Bill 1.0, right? This is Bill 1.0. And we can, I bet you almost all of us can relate to Bill. So when I talk about Bondage Bill, I want you guys to relate it to yourself. Because whether you're starting your journey or whether you're already really deep into your journey, multiple times you will find yourself in a similar position to Bondage Bill. So right now, Bondage Bill is disempowered by his thoughts, right? So Bondage Bill has negative thoughts, and the N will be for negative, okay? So Bondage Bill has negative thoughts in his critical thinking mind. In his conscious mind, he consciously thinks that he's not worthy. He consciously thinks these negative thoughts, right? He also subconsciously thinks these negative thoughts. So he doesn't just consciously think these negative thoughts, he subconsciously deeply believes these negative thoughts. And he acts negatively with his body. He uses his body to act negatively, and he ends up with negative results, right? So Bondage Bill is currently in bondage, right? Bondage Bill is currently stuck. He's encumbered by his thoughts. Okay, but then Bill comes across a really cool dude on YouTube named Jamil, and he starts to ponder the idea that he can do and have more. And guys, this was me. I was originally encumbered by my negative thoughts. I consciously thought I sucked. I also subconsciously deeply believed that I sucked. And I would act really poorly and I would get really poor results, right? But then I came across a cool dude on YouTube named Jamil, and he planted the idea in my head that I can do and have more, right? He planted the idea in my head that I can do and have more. And that was from me seeing him wholesaling real estate live, seeing him make multiple checks every single month. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, Jamil is human too. We're both born with 2 arms, 2 legs. You know, Jamil was poor at one point in time. I was at that time when I was watching that, I was poor. I was like, I'm poor now. So, I mean, logically, consciously, critically, with my critical thought, I'm like, I could do it too. I mean, why not? Right. But I still didn't believe in myself. I had this lingering feeling of like, I was just so used to sucking, right? I was so used to feeling like I suck that I didn't believe it deep down inside my soul, right? So I continued to act negatively and I continued to get negative results. Okay. But then I watched enough of Jamil to where I started to believe, and emotionally embrace this new idea that I can do and have more, right? So in my conscious thinking mind, I had the idea of I can do and have more, right? In my subconscious mind, I also every now and then I would feel like it. I would like start to feel it. I'd be like, yeah, it feels so good, right? But then, you know, that old self would creep back in. That old self would creep back in and say, Nathan, you suck. You know, the past, you know, really long period in your life, you've sucked. And, you know, we're used to feeling like we suck. So just remember that you suck. And, you know, sometimes when you get this idea that you're better than that, you know, chillax, bro. So I had this negative idea in my mind that would say that to me. And I was like, no, I don't want this. So what did I have to do? How did I break past this? Because I was in this incredible imposter syndrome, right? Where I'm taking the actions, right? I'm taking actions that are positive. I'm feeling positive sometimes, but I'm also feeling negative sometimes. And I'm just like, oh, it's such an uncomfortable feeling in this imposter syndrome. So how do you break past the imposter syndrome to where you have freedom? Because you see this guy right here, he has freedom. And I would watch all my friends on the other side of the fence and they would have freedom, right? They were living their best lives, traveling the world. They were making, you know, $20,000 a month. They were doing all these great things and they had the freedom. And I'm like, but I'm taking actions, right? And let me write this big word down here. I'm taking actions, right? I'm taking actions, but I'm not getting that freedom. I'm still mostly getting negative results, right? So what happens here with this imposter syndrome? And guys, it's a really, really simple answer, but I will say that it's a hard thing to do sometimes. It's a really simple answer, but it is hard sometimes to do. And this is where putting in your reps, this is where practice comes in. I had to intentionally practice eliminating those negative ideas. I had to continually put positive ideas in my brain. I had to continually put positive ideas in my brain and eliminate negative ideas from my brain. When a negative thought would come around, and I'm going to illustrate for you guys what a negative thought is. Negative thoughts are automatic negative thoughts, right? Automatic negative thoughts. Whenever I would have an automatic negative thought, I would crush the ant. Crush the ant. Okay. Imagine this. Imagine every single negative thought that comes into your mind is like an ant, and you crush that ant, right? You crush that automatic negative thought. You say, no, that's not me. That's not me anymore. I even find myself to this day, sometimes a song will come on and it'll be like, ooh, this is a bit of a sad song. I remember this one. And then I'm like, no, that is not me. That is not future Nathan. So I was crushing those automatic negative thoughts, and I was constantly influencing my brain with positive thoughts. And I did that for long enough that the negative started to go away. What I ended up with was only positive. And now, don't get me wrong, you will still have negative thoughts every now and then. It's a constant battle. But now you find yourself on the other side of the fence. You find yourself with freedom and a new, let me write this out here, a new personality. You find yourself with a new personality after changing your thoughts. So at the end of the day, and if I can put this as simply as possible, if you don't change your thoughts, nothing in your life will change. Guys, I'm going to say this one more time, and I'd actually really encourage you guys to write it down. I really want to encourage you guys to write this down. If you don't change your thoughts, nothing in your life will change. It all starts with thought. It all starts with thought. If you don't change your thoughts, nothing in your life will change. So I want to ask you, as we close this out, I want to ask you, do you want to choose thoughts of positivity and faith, or thoughts of negativity and disbelief? Because it is your choice and it is in your hands.
Hey, wow, bro. That was incredible.
Thank you.
Well done. Folks, do all of us a solid here and give your love to Nathan for that. Well said. I truly enjoyed every word of that, and so true. I loved the ants analogy, even though I do like ants. But yeah, getting in and being mindful of when a negative thought finds its way into our world, and just eliminating it and making the choice to choose a positive redirect is absolutely the way to go. And it's so beautiful to see where you've come and how far you've come, Nathan, and watching somebody take this work and push forward in it in a way that I can tangibly see. And we have had people in the chat say they've watched you grow since you started, and where you've come is so beautiful. So here you guys have it in front of you in living color. An individual who in not a lot of time has made a dramatic shift in his thinking process, in his emotional regulation, in his capacity to create and co-create in his life. He's, again, a very powerful manifester. Has gotten to a place where he is now able to travel the world, work from home. And I'm so grateful that I get to call him friend. So everybody, again, give your love to Nathan. And Nathan, if you would like, tell us where people can find more of you.
Thank you, Jamil. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for being so great of students. That was really, really fun to be able to participate with you guys. If you want to find more of me, I'll put my Instagram in the chat. It's at nathan.w.k.harris. nathan.w.k.harris. And if you go on YouTube as well and you search up Nathan Harris REI, you'll actually see me there. I live stream like almost every single day, Monday to Friday. And over the past year, most of you guys here, because I invited a lot of my friends here, I SMS'd all of you guys. Over the past year, y'all got to see me go through this struggle. That bondage bill story was me, right? I would show up. I remember showing up to Jamil's calls and saying, Jamil, I'm putting in the work. I'm calling the agents, but for some reason it's not working. And what I found out down the line was I was subtly self-sabotaging because I was so addicted to that previous personality. I was so stuck in that previous route that I was subtly self-sabotaging that even though I was putting in the KPIs, my inflection on the phone, they'd smell it. The agents would smell it. So Jamil, I am so grateful for you to show me that it's not just strategy, it's also inner size. Like we have to do that exercise on the inside.
Absolutely. Love you, Nathan. Thank you for this incredible presentation. And we'll see more of Nathan on these guys. If you'd like to have Nathan back on another mindset call, let us know. Send me a DM on Instagram. Send him a DM on Instagram as well. And keep tuning in on these Sundays at 1 p.m. Arizona time, where we work from the inside out to get all the things in life that we need from it. I love you guys. We'll see you again.